Hey, 3 reasons why people stay stuck when it comes to the mortgage scores, the lender scores, the FICO Classics that 90% or 100% of your mortgage lenders use, 90% of all your other lenders use. Again, we're talking about the circumstances that so many people are walking around thinking their scores are a whole lot higher based on the feedback from Credit Karma, FICO 8, credit-wise, only to go to the lender that tells a whole different story. And we're going to talk about why. I'm not saying this is every case. I'm talking about in these cases that this happens, which is often, especially those that have had any kind of financial storm in their past. 3 biggest reasons they stay stuck when it comes to the lender scores. Number 1, FICO Classic, the lender scores, looks, when it comes to third-party collection agencies, not only does it consider every collection, regardless of the dollar amount, where some of your consumer scores do not. It looks, when it ages that account, it ages it by the open date, the date that the third-party collection agency purchased it. Now, this is so important. This could be a 5-year-old debt that a third-party collection agency might be the 4th collection agency that purchased it, but just purchased it 3 months ago. Well, the newer FICO algorithms have corrected this issue and will age it correctly according to when it happened, not the classic scores. It'll age it as if it just happened. And we know this. If you've been following my videos, you do. The newer the derogatory, the more impact it has on the credit scores. So why do people stay stuck? Because these guys will just continue to sell them back and forth. So no matter what the person's doing, they're doing all the right things, and here comes something from the past, right back to the front, and here their scores are in the dumps again. But they don't respond to it. They don't know it because the consumer score is not giving them the feedback. They only know it when they go to the lender and they're scratching their head and they can't figure out why there's such a big discrepancy in scores. Number 2 reason why people stay stuck with the FICO Classic algorithms. And that comes to paying off these collections. So the reasonable thing is, you know what, we're just gonna pay off those collections, and that should just take care of that and put that nightmare behind me. And yeah, it will eventually put that nightmare behind you. But how many years is this gonna take to recover? Because what happens with the FICO Classic is the coding never changes, but the date of last activity does, matching up to the day you paid it off, making the debt seem more recent to that older algorithm and dumping the scores. And the third biggest reason, or third big reason, and perhaps the biggest actually, is when it comes to charged off credit cards. It's so important. We see this, and we just see it all the time. Person might have had a financial storm in their past. They had to make some bad decisions and to save their house, save their car, let's let the credit cards go. They since came through the storm. They've got new credit cards since then. They've paid their balances down. They're doing everything right. The feedback from their CreditWise or Credit Karma, their Experian FICO 8 scores are saying, hey, good job. You're in the, their scores are launching. Some of these guys are in the 700s, only to find out the lender pulls somewhere in the low 5s or mid 5s or even high 5s, 100-point difference. Why? The FICO Classic algorithm will take the balance on that charged off credit card. It could be 6 years old, it doesn't matter. And it'll average it into, even though it's charged off, even though it's closed, will average that balance into their current utilization. So no matter how well you pay your credit cards down, it's averaging that balance in, and your utilization is not the 5% or 25% or less that maybe your consumer scores are seeing, and they're saying, hey, great job. It averages this charged off balance in there, and it could be 100, depending on what the balance is. It could have your utilization 125% for that matter, creating a giant difference in the score. And absolutely staying stuck, because that continues to happen and time doesn't heal it, or at least until it hits 7 years old and falls completely off. So again, be careful in the feedback that you're getting through your consumer scores. I think they're valuable to see what's on there and what's moving, but don't put a lot of stock in what those scores are telling you. Get with us, consultations are free, we'll help you navigate. Oh, and one other thing, telling you this, you might be tempted to say, oh, well, I'm gonna go pay off those credit cards in my past. We gotta be very careful. On reason number 2, I told you paying off an old debt can actually cause it to become newer and drop the scores, and this is very true. There's exceptions to that rule. rolling charged off credit cards are one of those. But is it updating? How do you know? Do you know it's updating every month? Because if it's not, if that original creditor does not own it anymore, then this could actually drop your credit score if you were to settle it. So just get with this. Consultation's free. We'll show you. We'll be able to look at those indicators and give you the right direction. Talk to you soon.